the actions and protests? If so, how did the states help? And we will have Boaz and Mohammed answer.
Unfortunately, no countries support or help Egyptian people in this revolution. All of Egyptian was waiting for any country to take a decision, to get Mubarak out, to support the people. It's good to the people, Egyptian people, do it with their self. It's good, but that's Mubarak left already. And this is the most important for us as a people around the world. If something happened after that, what we will do as a people, as a small community around the world, as a humanities around the world, how we will deal with our governments. As we know, for example, the states said we will prevent the aid for Egypt. It's 1.3 billion for Egypt. In fact, this money first not for Egyptians. It's this for a government. Okay. Second, for the resource, if we compare with the resources of Egypt, that what we will see in the movie, it's nothing. And we will do, and this point, very important for audience, that very important to know your feeling, what's your comments about that. To get the dictator like Mubarak out, very useful for human rights. The states spend a lot, billions dollars to get Saddam out in Iraq and lose thousands of people in the war. So it's easier to get Mubarak out and all of Egyptians support him. And we will, I hope, to talk about this and listen and hear from you about this. Thanks.
So were there any other countries that helped with the protests or actions? No. And rightly so. I'm glad that no one helped. If you know the Egyptian people, they're very proud. They're very proud. If anyone gets involved in their matters, they get really upset. To the point that if two brothers are fighting, and then the neighbor comes in and try, oh, where you guys are fighting, they would both unite. I'm like, why do you don't get involved? This is our matter. This is how proud these people are, and they do not want anyone's help. And when CNN and Al Jazeera were asking the people in the protest, what do you need us to do? What do you need from the U.S.? Or what do you need from Europe? Or what do you need from the other countries? They all said the same thing: get out of it. Do not get involved. We can solve our own problems. Do not get involved. That was the reply. Even though they know that the United States, for example, has been supporting Mubarak, despite the fact that he is a dictator, despite the fact that the U.S. knows he is a dictator, they've been supporting him for 30 years. But the people did not ask the U.S. to help them now. No, they just wanted them to stay out of it. And on the ground, there was no involvement. No countries were involved on the ground in the protest or in the organization of the protest. Outside of the ground, like on government levels, of course there was pressure. There was pressure from the US, there was pressure from the European Union, on the government level, on Mubarak, on the Egyptian military. Of course there was pressure. And we all saw it. The first few days of the protest, Clinton came out and she said, oh, Egypt is a stable country. There's no problem in Egypt. You have Joe Biden came out, and when was asked, do you think Mubarak is a dictator? Straight out, do you think Mubarak is a dictator? He said no, because he helps us with our war on terrorism. That's his definition of what a dictator is. That he does not, if he helps you with the war on terrorism, that he's not a dictator. I mean, it's sad that this is coming from a politician, and especially a vice president of a country like the U.S. When Joe Biden comes and says something like this, I mean, you have at least play politics for God's sake and go and don't answer the question, right? Don't say no, he's not a dictator. So this is the first few days of the protest. But then all of a sudden we saw a shift, because now in the streets, without any help, the people were taking over. They cornered Mubarak and his regime to the point that Mubarak came out and he said, okay, I'm gonna dissolve the government. I'm gonna have a vice president. Even though you guys were asking me to have a vice president for the past 30 years, I'm finally having a vice president now. And I'm gonna dissolve the government. I'm gonna form a new government from the old one, right? I mean, that's all he formed, a new government from the old one. Half of the ministers were from the same government. And the other half that he brought were like the second in command of that particular ministry. But now, if Mubarak had done that the first day of the protest, people would have calmed down. But the problem, he did that after hundreds of people were dead. At that point, that was on Friday night. At that point, there was more than 100 Egyptians that were killed. It was too late. You should have done that a week before. So they cornered him, and that's the point where the U.S. foreign policy started to change towards a little bit towards the people. There were still people have the right to protest, but Mubarak is our ally. This is if you guys are familiar with the Iranian Revolution, that's what Jimmy Carter did, and that was the biggest mistake he made was that he kept on saying we are with the people. The people have the right to protest and call for democracy. But we support the Shah. He's our ally. And guess what? The revolution won, and he ended up having people who hate the U.S. because of it. Because he kept on supporting the dictator. But I am glad that at least the Obama administration changed at the end of it. They started moving towards the people more and more. So I'm going to give that much to the Obama administration. At the beginning, they were horrible. It was so bad how they handled the situation. But at the end, they switched towards the side of the people and start pressuring the Egyptian government to do something about it. And they didn't just come out and say, oh, Mubarak is our ally. They said that at the beginning, but not at the end of it. They stopped on saying that. So no, there was no help on the ground. Yes, there was help on the government level, on the pressure. The third help that I think was very important was the media. The media was very, very important. If it wasn't for Anderson Cooper and Christiana Amanpour and CNN and Al Jazeera and all of this media outlets that was there on the ground, Mubarak would have committed a massacre to these people in the Tahrir Square easily. He would have done it like that. He would have just called and massacred every single human being in Tahrir Square. But he didn't. Why? Because of the media. Because CNN was there. Because Al Jazeera was there. So in an indirect way, the media helped. And that's why, if you follow the state on television, they started saying that, any foreign media that's in Egypt